Previously on Critically Stupid.
Dear diary, I had a week. We've been through so much, my friends and me. Mel and I were suddenly on a ship. It was the first time I went on a magic trip. We met a sexy pirate, he's my new friend. Though he said something strange about a house of inspired hands, Mel fell in love and we stole. While Cerulean and Garath escaped from a hole. Sylvia was mad, and our friend Tim got real sad.
Okay. Let's
This dragon has no shame.
Why don't you just clear your voice really, really, really hard one time?
Me?
Yeah.
Because thank you for asking. My voice is shot from the week that I had. It was really, really busy at work, and we work in a big kitchen with our hood fans are very loud, so I was yelling all week. And then we went to a show on Thursday, and I fully blew my voice out. So a lot of the NPCs you guys meet today are going to sound like they smoke a pack a day, and I'm sorry for that.
I thought your show was tomorrow.
We are going to a show tomorrow. We also went to one on Thursday because
you hate yourself.
No. We're young people who live in New York City, and we're so fucking cool.
Are you tired?
Shut up.
Is your back hurt?
I was born tired. Let's do
Welcome to Critically Stupid, where we're all cool and young and 20 years old.
You couldn't stop it, Holter. You said that.
Hey, everybody.
Like honestly, best voice work I've heard so far is that old man you were just performing as. Like, I don't know what
the old man known as Alexander James. Okay,
I don't think that was the performance.
It was not actually.
No.
Okay, thank you all for tuning into Critically Stupid. Again, soon to be world famous Dungeons and Dragons roleplay podcast. My name is Alexander James. I am the dungeon master. My favorite part of last episode was the 5 seconds where Garath looked into my soul and read what I was going to do and took the noose off his neck before the half orc could literally drag him to his death. And I was, ooh. You see it on my face, the frustration.
That was amazing.
I'll take initiative here. My name is Garath. My name is Garion, and I play Garath. And my favorite moment of last episode was First of all, Gareth was just fully lying there for like a good 12 seconds with a noose around his neck before going, you know what? I should probably take this
I
off.
feel like you were probably like weighing your options. Like, am I ready to go?
Is this my
Like,
time?
should I
How much
like
do I
I've
really
had a
have left
good
in me?
run, right? Like, yeah, I'm the youngest one, but like I've had a good run, right? Right? Yeah.
Still don't know
nah.
how to do math or read, but it's fine.
My name is Diana. I play Mel. I probably would have kept the noose on, just fully aware of what the plan was too. Like I knew where he was going with it, but I still would have been like, I'm ready, guys. I'm ready to go. What was my favorite part? Oh, I feel like I fell in love with a very swarthy captain.
I'm Katie and I play Cerulean. My favorite part of last episode was like spider monkeying up the tunnel.
That was amazing. Hello, my name is Anthony. I play Arnold, and my favorite part of last episode was probably when I changed from a robot to myself and pretended that a robot was chasing me, and then became best friends with the captain who winked at me and essentially jumped away. So I'm excited to meet him again.
So dreamy.
Can you not let me? You just can't let me have this. I just said I would have kept the noose on my neck, and you just can't let me have this one. Have I not suffered enough?
Okay, I'll write your love song and I'll play at your wedding. I'm sorry.
All of your asses how many times now, and you just can't let me have the swarthy captain.
Okay. We're going to open. It is, I'm going to say like 12:30 to 1 in the morning on a cold spring night at Waterdeep. Two figures are sloshing down the alleyway towards a dilapidated tavern, leaving a trail of seawater and blistered curses behind them as they walk towards the door. Arnold and Mel, how are you feeling after your evening, after your long walk from the Seaward to Troll Skull Manor?
Look, I got a present for my friend the wizard, who's not a wizard. Excuse me. Sorry, my B. Caught it. Got a present for him, got a present for me, and met potentially the love of my life. And all I have to do is get rid of that blonde bitch that he was with, and I have murdered before.
Oh, I'm mostly excited that I have a statue that I'm excited to like show my best friend. I can't wait to show my bestie, the wizard, who knows all about magic and sorcery. What this, maybe it has some, kind of special, properties that I don't know about. I can't wait to pick his brain for that. Also, though, I do have a ukulele full of gold, and I'm so excited to like shake it out and show the world, or just rattle it off as like a, just like a maraca.
Maraca of just gold.
Just like gold, yeah. It shakes as I play. It's good. It's keeps time.
Inside the manor, two figures are sitting at a cracked and uneven table, playing cards from a deck missing, I'm going to say fully half the cards. Cerulean and Garath, how do you feel about your evening spent in the sewers?
Garath is like drifting in and out of consciousness at the table. He wants to go to bed so bad.
But Cerulean probably told him that we couldn't go to sleep until they got back. And she's probably looking wired, leg bouncing. Probably just as soon as the door opens, she stands up or something.
So funny you should mention, the door swings open, and Arnold and Mel, you walk through, and the four of you are reunited.
Cute. Big group hug. Yay, group hug.
Well, I feel like, okay, listen, if Garath is like real salty that he had to stay awake waiting on us, I'm gonna soften that by saying that I brought you a gift.
Garath is like a child. He's like bouncing up and down.
Right? Like I thought of you. So if you want to be mad at anyone, you can be mad at the bard, I suppose. But I brought you a gift, so
I said,
What
no,
is
no,
it?
no, no, no,
money
no, 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 no,
and
no, no.
the dagger. Like I got the dagger specific for you because it's lit.
Nice.
But I also got a bunch of money.
Hell yeah.
So,
I do
like,
like both of those
So-
things.
I reach into my bag and I'm like clearly avoiding the gold as I'm going for my statue. I'm like, oh no, this is the treasure of the lifetime. I'm like, look at this, best friends. And like I show him and I unwrap it because it's wrapped in like basically my version of bubble wrap as best I could.
Yeah.
Right. You took great pains. So Gareth, you hear Arnold paw through, and a couple of pieces fall out of his bag, and he's pawing through like gold pieces.
Can I
And he
roll to
pulls-
catch them before they hit the ground?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, go for it. Give me sleight of hand real quick.
Sleight of hand. Sweet. That's like my best modifier.
Nice.
We got
Notice how I didn't try to hide the
16
gold.
plus 7 is 23.
Yeah, you snatch two of those gold
100%.
pieces right out of the air.
I'd like to clarify that my character's not actively hiding and not intentionally. He's just avoiding it because he's more excited to show his friend the thing that, that's
Oh yeah, no, priorities,
We know.
absolutely.
his priority
100%.
status. It's not about
Obviously.
hiding the gold from Gary. It's about
And then
showing
Gareth,
the thing.
as he pulls out of the bag, he unwraps what essentially looks like a child's crude claymation figure of some kind of creature with webbed feet and also maybe wings that has two green rocks stuffed into its crude face for eyes. If you haven't had to like estimate it for a fence, you would put it solidly at about a copper piece. Like this thing is literally garbage.
Yeah, it by the way, webbed feet with wings. I believe you're describing a duck.
That's where I went.
Okay, so Arnold shows me the clay duck. And he says he just presents it proudly.
I do. The proudest moment. A duck. And I was like,
Oh, thanks.
I think
An
Gareth-
avocado.
Gareth-
Thanks.
Avocado.
Gareth's eyes are just like completely locked on his bag and have not shifted to the duck whatsoever.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
hurtful.
Cerulean looks at Arnold and just goes, "Can I count that?"
and I say, it's one duck. It's one.
No. What's in your bag,
It's a
buddy? What's in your bag?
Singular duck. I wish I got two. I looked around the room there where it's only the one.
I'm gonna like smack Gareth's hand and be like, "Stop! We might be able to do something with this." And like starts counting all of it, and then looks at Mel and goes, "You want to add this into the?"
I would absolutely love to add to the joint account because I just don't want to handle like any of that math shit. But look, Gareth, I got you not a duck. I got you like this super dope gold dagger thing.
Oh, it's a gold dagger. That's pimpin'
It is,
style.
right? Isn't it?
So like
So,
I
as,
recall.
as they share this like moment with the dagger and I recognize that the duck is still mostly in my hand, like completely rejected. Can I just kind of turn and be like, I got this for my friend. Perhaps this is the end. And I'm just like sadly thinking about how my friend rejected me, and I wish like he would have just accepted my gift, and
I mean, God, yeah, you can, but I think
Yeah,
the real question
that's what I'm
is,
doing.
did you have to?
I did. That's what my character would do. It just he's really cares about his friend.
Alright.
I think in the middle of his lament, I think Gareth is gonna be like, oh fuck, I didn't think this far ahead. Hey, Arnold, what if we named the duck Gutenberg and put him on display for everyone to see?
And I like Arnold turns. He's just like, I knew this day would come. This duck, it is the one. And I saw I give him the duck, and we.
I will go ahead and do the math easy. You guys picked up between copper, silver, gold, and Gareth, you actually managed to grab some assorted gems, just sort of like off the cuff. You have 300 gold pieces cash.
Nice.
Okay.
How many do we need again? Wasn't it like
1,000.
1,000 was the big number.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. We're basically there. Can Gareth go out to like the black market and like fence it and like appraise it?
Yeah, if you want to.
Is there like what would that be, like insight maybe?
Is this something that you guys want to send Gareth on solo, or would it be like a group thing? I love everybody shaking their heads immediately no.
I mean, I was thinking more of like an errand. I wasn't actually gonna make any purchases. I was just gonna find out pricing.
I've actually
still
got
think-
a it's using some of our community names, an NPC encounter. If you guys want to do it, like obviously this is like your game, like you don't have to, but
We don't go anywhere without each other. That did not go well last time. New house
I
rules.
think it went great.
I
Oh,
think
wait.
we got lucky.
I feel like maybe, and like I know, like I make friends with everyone. I like everyone. I'm the guy who, like, you know me. You're my friend. However, I think that we'd probably get a better deal if we didn't smell like actual garbage. I feel like if people are trying to get rid of us, they're just gonna be like, oh, I'll give you $1 or nothing. Get away. Like, go.
Do we
Like,
think
they're not
it's gonna rain soon?
Is there a
so that we can
bathhouse?
shower?
yeah, let's say for the sake of convenience, there is a nearby bathhouse that you guys can all get cleaned up. And just again, for the sake of convenience, let's say that we take a long rest now so that everybody's damage markers go away and you all
Cool.
look and feel like people again.
Perfect.
Okay. Taking your cash, bow, dagger, and statue, you plunge into Troll Skull Alley, which is a series of twisted corners and crooked streets. You pass a number of shops. There was what appears to be a forge and armory with hissing steam and slamming metal. There's a 2-story wild glass and botanicals, almost like plant store that reaches up to like a lofty like glass covered penthouse. There is a almost unmarked door at the bottom of a staircase leading underground with a red eye dead center in the doorway. And then you come to a double door sort of near the end of the alleyway with a stylized ornate wrought iron W over the top of the door. And then next to it appear to be one by another, a series of smaller, shittier, cheaper W's. So there are 3 all day. One of them is very ornate and the other 2 are crappy and cheap. And scratched into the side of the door on a little handmade plaque is Wicked Wares and Wiles. All right, who's going in?
I
I'll
would like
go
to
in.
go in.
Okay. You open the doors to a series of discordant notes playing over the still air of a seemingly deserted curiosity shop. The shelves are tall and narrow and littered with random assortments of weapons and bits and bobs of pieces of scattered armor and bags and boxes. The walls are hung with everything from creature skulls to full sets of armor to intricate weapons on hooks. But the first thing you notice is a set of broken and cracked music notes floating on the air and 2 candles lit on a countertop at the far side, flickering alone.
But no people in sight.
No people.
Can
And the
we
candles
tell-
are how far away?
The candles are probably about 15 feet away from the door, sort of towards the far wall of the shop.
Can we tell where the music is coming from?
That's a great question. You cannot. It almost seems like it's dripping from the walls.
I don't like that. Is it just Garath and Cerulean inside, or is the whole gang in?
Seems like a question for the whole gang.
So I enter. Do I recognize the music at all since I'm a bard?
You know that it's in a minor key. It's not
Okay.
jaunty in any capacity. It's almost mournful and or eerie.
Minor keys never a good sign.
No, I have a flashback to my terrible past, and no one seems to recognize. I kind of look off. Like,
Arnold is just
I get-
staring blankly.
I just
off
stare
for like a
blankly
few
and get
seconds.
sad. Yeah.
Looks like a shell-shocked soldier.
Shell shock moment. Yeah.
He takes out a
100%.
harp and
Have
does a
moment.
little like
Okay.
Anyway,
Hey, that's not. I have a face. That's. I mean,
I'm a real person
I'm a
with real
person
emotion.
with
I'm a real boy.
Scary. I was
Yeah.
just trying to learn more about
Gareth
you.
tries to get like Arnold's attention, like, hey.
So
Snap
I kind
out-
of
I'm trying
snap
to get
out
him-
of it, and I'm like, I didn't mean to. I mean, what are we doing?
You
I look around. I'm like, where are what?
you detect magic? Maybe there's something fishy going on here.
I'm like, oh yeah.
Does anybody have detect magic?
Someone's got to,
I
right?
think the bard
I
does, don't you?
I don't.
Arnold and Cerulean, give me Arcana checks, please.
Okay, cool.
Love that for me. 18.
Yeah, I just got a 14.
Okay, 18's pretty good. Cerulean, you notice a very faint aura of magic coming from up. There's an upstairs section over this countertop with like a staircase with like a do not enter chain sort of like around it, and you notice it's coming from up there. However, as you take maybe a step closer to like investigate this, there is a raucous scrape of wood against wood, and a bearded gnome leaps onto a stool from behind the countertop where he had been hiding and goes, "Welcome to the dynastic, devilish, dirty, and deceiving store of wicked wiles and wares. I am, of course, Daniel, the best gnome there ever was. Welcome, strangers."
Gareth is like visibly bewildered. Holy
Arnold starts clapping,
shit.
just like immediately clapping. Just so happy.
Next to the gnome, you hear a voice rise up from almost the floorboards and say, "You're supposed to intro me and you forgot again." And Dan sort of looks down and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, baby. That's my bad." Standing up from behind the counter, you see a half-elf woman with brown, very curly hair tucked behind her pointed ears, and she is toying with a dagger the size of her face and looks distinctly unamused. And Daniel says, welcome, my friends. What can I do for you?"
Can we get a quick size reference for gnomes? Because they vary depending on the media. Are we talking like water bottle size gnome or like good 2 feet?
He's probably about 1.5 feet to 2 feet tall. Think like a sizable garden gnome.
So I'm just like, that was a wonderfully weird introduction, but I still don't know what's your friend's name. Hi.
She says, "My name's Dina. Obviously, you would have known that if you remembered to do his intro, but guess what? He forgot again."
So
Well, I think he did a great job.
Well, that's because you're somebody who doesn't know anything.
Wow, you're right on, yeah.
And Daniel says, "What can we do for you here at the Wicked Wares and Wiles store?" And Dina rolls her eyes and goes, "It's Wicked Wares and Wiles. Stop adding more words to it. It's already alliterative."
Store is also not.
You could also go with warehouse, guys.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
I stand up, I'm like, I love this whole like performance that you're doing is fantastic. I agree with Dina, however, that like you should have introduced your friend. I understand though, I make mistakes all the time. I'm a performer myself. We know what it's like. They don't understand, especially that one. And I'm like but we have some questions for you. Well, my friends do. I'm just here to look around, really.
We're looking to sell off some items.
"That's so great. That's exactly what we do here. Welcome to," and Dina cuts him off and says, "They get it. They've heard the name 3 times now. What are you selling?"
We place the items on the table.
Okay.
Except notably not my dagger, and I assume not Mel's bow.
So just the statue.
So I watched this happen.
Oh
and
yeah, the
just-
clay statue is what we're selling, isn't it, huh?
Okay, when they set the statue on the counter, is there a reaction at all from the gnomes?
The gnome's jaw drops and he goes, "Oh my God, this is incredible. What is that? Is it a duck?"
Yeah, it's
Dina-
actually very rare. It's an artisan, handcrafted, handmade duck. It's the duck is GMO, cage free as well. So really should be something there.
Yeah, give me or I'll tell you what. You can roll deception on your own, or one of your party members can chip in and maybe get an advantage on a persuasion roll if you're making a sell here.
My deception is better than my persuasion, but the advantage would be helpful.
Yeah, so Cerulean chimes in. She goes, yeah, this is from a very old culture. We were running through town, and we ran into these archaeologists. We helped them out, and they handed it to us, and they said, this should fetch you a really pretty penny. It's from the place that we just discovered called Alabamius.
Stop. Are you you came up with this dope ass backstory and then your brain sputtered on empty at Alabamius?
Did you see me panic?
This great land that we discovered.
Daniel is floored. He is like, oh my God, that is the most exciting, the most exhilarating, the most incredible thing that's ever come across our countertops. And Dina
Literally
slams
nobody's
that.
ever described Alabama like that before.
Dina slams the dagger point first into the countertop, and Arnold, you're closest. You can see there's like a spider web of similar points where she's done this a lot before. And she rolls her eyes at the duck and says, I bet it's garbage. It looks like garbage. It looks like something a child had as a nightmare.
Well, that's because you're someone who knows nothing.
No notes.
What did you get on your deception roll, by the way, with advantage?
I have yet to roll, actually.
Okay, so let's do Garion, Garath. Roll deception or persuasion, your choice, with advantage because of your great alley-oop moment with Cerulean.
Advantage is what, +1?
It's going to be, you're going to roll twice and take the higher of the two on the
tight.
D20.
So I'm going to do deception, which is +4. First roll is a 7. Second
awesome.
roll is a 15. So 15 + 4 is 19.
Okay. Even Dina picks up the duck mallard situation gently, although she does give you the stink eye. Dina picks up the duck and looks at it, and then Daniel snatches the duck from her and like sticks it really close to his face, but clearly is just like excited to be there and doesn't really know what he's doing. And then you hear a voice trickle down, just like the music you heard from the upper floor, and say, now that is quite an interesting mallard. Do you mind if I take a look at it? And the floor shakes as a 600-pound gorilla throws himself from the upper balcony onto the floor.
That's fucking awesome.
Right next to Garath. He is wearing a fitted waistcoat, tie, and pants, and he adjusts his spectacles as he walks up to the counter.
Garath looks at this gorilla. He goes, this is the greatest day of my life.
And the gorilla gingerly takes the duck from Daniel, and there's a brief moment as Daniel like fights for it, and finally like the gorilla like takes it and holds it up to the light.
I like to imagine the gorilla's like shaking it and like just completely ragdolling the gnome.
Picks him up off the stool and then shakes him off of it.
I have a question.
Yes.
If while all of these exchanges are like happening of the duck, can I prestidigitation some like just ancient looking glyphs into the bottom of the duck?
I will require a sleight of hand check from you because that's a pretty sneaky spell you're casting in the middle of this room. And if you biff it, everyone will know.
I should...
Unless, I will say before you do this, unless one of your party members wants to step in and maybe create a diversion or give you advantage in some capacity.
I kick Mel like I've tripped a little, like just like readjusting.
Standing still?
Yeah. Well, no. You know, when you're shifting feet and and you go to rest, like unlock your knee, and you don't realize you've kind of lost circulation, so your knee buckles.
Okay, all right.
That was a very long explanation. Wow.
Like my go-to distraction is killing people, so I probably like wasn't your best choice. choice. All
But you
things
were the choice,
considered.
bestie. So what do you do?
But I was the choice. I'm gonna deflect, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh my God, look over here! Look at the bard."
That's your distract. Everybody,
Yes,
look
it
at the
is
bard.
Do a dance,
So-
puppet dance.
Okay, so I imagine. I mean, I do play pretty, naive, but I'd like to imagine I can see my friends trying to do something.
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
I
No, you
imagine
pick up
that
on the
she-
subtleties.
But I cast, I give bardic inspiration to Cerulean. Well,
Is that a D4?
Okay. It's a
It's
D6. So you're going to roll the D20 and you're going to add 6 to it before I tell you if it's a success or not.
There you go.
But do I get advantage?
Yeah, I mean, it would be unfair for me to give it to Garath and not to you. So sure, take advantage. Roll twice, take the higher of the two.
Okay, so the first one was a 3. Thank God for it. Advantage. The second one was a 16. I have a 0 modifier, but you said D6.
D6.
Come on, big money. Oh, 5. Okay, so 21.
Okay, pretty slick. Okay, yes, you whisper under your breath, and your hands flicker at your sides, almost drumming against your thigh, and a series of scrawling black glyphs appear on the bottom of this mallard. They look very legit, super arcane. The gorilla inspects this duck, and Dina rolls her eyes for what you feel like is the 5th time. Like, it happens a lot. And she goes, oh, Sean, don't even bother. It's just a fucking duck. And Daniel says, how dare you? This is the coolest mallard that's ever. Is it a mallard? Is it a duck? Sean, what is it? And the gorilla, Sean, inspects this mallard and says, it's curious. It almost looks like but these glyphs don't make any sense. Without these glyphs, it would be the Mallard of Madness, which is almost a famous archetypical artifact taken from one of the better known family houses in Waterdeep. But these glyphs make me think.
Garath reaches for the duck, while also very obviously getting Mel's attention. Oh, here, give me that. Sorry, I think I dropped it in some mud. And then he showily starts rubbing.
And I'm gonna try to, while he's doing that, I'm gonna try to do the same thing again to prestidigitation it off.
I don't think you have to roll to undo a spell. I think you can just
So can I just drop it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just drop it, and my eyes are
Garath, you managed to pull off the glyphs like fresh marker, it leaves a slight smear, but you managed to get it off.
Nice.
And the gorilla says, oh, well, that's the Mallard of Madness. It's an artifact taken from one of the famous houses of Waterdeep. That's incredible. Where did you find this?
Rules of the profession. We have it here in front of you. No need to ask how it got here.
Of course. Yes, I'm familiar with rogue speak, and his fingers dance in an intricate pattern in front of his face. Gary, do you talk thieves' cant?
Yeah.
Okay, he gestures hello and welcome to you in thieves' cant.
Gareth is very easily impressed.
Sean says, of course, I perfectly understand. Well, this being the Mallard of Madness, obviously, I think this would fetch a pretty penny. We'd be willing to pay 200 gold pieces for this. And even Daniel is guys, that's a lot of money. I'll tell you what, just, I don't mean to put myself in a sucker's bargain. If I could be so bold, aren't you the new owners of Troll Skull Manor just down the road? I think forgive me, I don't mean to pry, but I think I noticed you walking in with Volo Getarm the writer just the other day. Well, as a welcome to the neighborhood, I'd love to throw in an extra 50 gold pieces, just as a neighborly advance.
You know what? That sounds like a deal to me, and I'll add to that a frequent customer in the future.
Tremendous.
we shake hands. Although he's a fucking gorilla, so
Yeah, it sounds like a shaking, like that scene in Tarzan where like little Tarzan reaches out
yeah,
and, like-
exactly.
Okay, I think by my count that puts you at 550 gold pieces for the haul so
Over
far.
halfway.
So can I? Okay, so we're still in this place.
Crazy.
Can I look at them and kind of ask them, like, look, we're also adventurers. We go around. We find stuff like this all the time. This, is there anything that you're actually after specifically
Ooh.
that like would get a pretty penny? Because we are, although we're adventurers, we're not money people, but we are in need of some money right now. So,
Chew.
Daniel jumps off the stool in excitement and says, "It's incredible that you ask this. I have a solemn quest to give you, a perfidious promise, a diabolical deed that I need your assistance with. I am a collector of olives."
And Arnold like gets down on one knee. I humbly accept.
yeah. So I'm just like, any olive? Like, I can do that. I have olives for days. I love olives.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
shit.
Oh no.
Boom. Episode
And
title:
I
Olive Olives.
Olive olives.
Love you.
Daniel says, "I love every olive. A Kalamata with a curious core, a Queen Anne with a pimento stuffed center, a blue cheese stuffed whatever it is."
I ask Dianna, I'm like, do you like olives, Dianna?
You mean Mel? Unless you're asking.
No, the other
Dina.
person. What's her
Dina.
name?
Oh, Dina.
Dina.
Oh,
Sorry.
olives are disgusting. Okay, you can't change my mind. Daniel, fucking whatever, his bullshit, he's on it, and they're disgusting. I hate them. I hate them. However, if you are out there and you find maybe a fully bloomed leaf with a curious aroma to it, and you find some cilantro, I will pay you a hefty fee for this fine herb. I'm sorry,
Like,
fantasy cilantro and fantasy
Nice.
olives. You get it.
obviously.
Yeah, is there like a fucking fantasy Wegmans?
There's a botanical place
I'd
just
be all
outside of
over
this.
that.
Let's go talk to them.
That is true. The botanical place has got to have the drop on some fantasy olives.
So you walk outside. I'm assuming all of you go with Arnold. There is a corner building. The first floor has a small staircase leading up to the storefront. But the whole townhouse is a twisted crown of glass and crawling ivy. There are plants of every kind of description and imagination, almost like leaping out of the windows in open places. And there's a beautiful engraved sign over the top of it called Corellion's Crown.
You think they sell fantasy weed here?
There's a little hemp leaf and a thumbs up. As you walk in, the floor of the storefront is open, and there's a lot of like beautiful natural light coming in from the windows, and it smells of flowers in the first bloom of autumn, and somehow also at the same time spring. And sitting behind the countertop is a beautiful person with like sculpted blonde hair studded with flowers and a wreath of ivy, sipping a cup of tea. And they notice you come in and say, "Oh, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please peruse the wares and the plants. I will say though, we are a very discerning shop, and any new coming plant mothers or fathers or they thems must pass a rigorous application process."
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Although, real quick before we do that, before we waste either of our times, do you have any fantasy olives or fantasy cilantro
Or fantasy weed.
or fantasy weed?
Oh, it's what a curious question. You sound just like the my lovely neighbor Daniel just across the street. He always comes in asking for olives. That silly man. I have no olives, but I have this lovely coriander tree right here. And they point, and sitting in the corner is almost like a fastidiously decorated or organized bonsai is a huge cilantro bush.
Interesting. Now, unfortunately, we're quite new to the neighborhood, and we're not sure we can support an entire beauty like this. You know, we don't want to be irresponsible plant parents.
I'm so glad thank you so much for saying that. So many people come in and they buy just the first succulent that they see, or they buy a fiddle leaf fern, and they give no thought to the care that, I mean, how much sunlight that plant requires.
Now, I noticed this is a bonsai. Do you have any recent clippings or trimmings that you were about to throw away that you don't need?
I might have some out back. Yes, perhaps.
Well, outstanding. I'd love to see. I'm adding this to the Garath lore. Big plant guy.
Seems convenient to add to the lore now. No.
Well, no, I don't mean like I'm not gonna like. Oh, and Garath knows this. I'm just saying like. I think it's funny that Garath just likes plants. Yeah, you have yet to answer about the fantasy weed. You've just laughed and moved on. Answer the question.
Because one could explain the over manicured cilantro.
What?
In one of the brighter corners of Corellion's crown is a beautiful. No, this is a family show. Fuck you.
Drugs.
No, that's a great quote. This is a family show. Fuck you.
Maybe that's the episode title. Maybe I get one.
Yeah.
All right. This person says, "Oh, please excuse me," and they leave from through a small door behind them, and you hear the sounds of ruffling, and then they come back with, I'll say, like a large handful of clippings of and Garath are talking specifically to you, and they say, "Oh, now you're going to want to propagate these in water, of course, as you know. Plenty of sunlight. Change the water regularly. Let those roots really grow before you put them in the soil, because it could shock the roots, and then of course you'll get nothing."
Now, do you recommend any type of specific soil, or will any be good? I don't think cilantro requires a too specific pH or anything.
Oh, fantasy cilantro, please.
Fantasy cilantro. Fuck! Damn it, immersion ruined.
They say, no, any type of soil you require is fine. Just make sure it's properly aerated so the roots breathe and the water moves through them. You know, life is water. That's what I always say.
Well, thank you so much for the fantasy cilantro. We'll be back soon. I'll be back around midnight for some of the fantasy weed. If you find out where to get any olives, let us know. We're cooking up a mean dish that requires
Martini.
olives.
I'm sorry, they just have no olives in this place at all?
No olives.
Okay, and we, I mean, did we ask specifically if they know of any olives, or we just assume they don't?
Or any olive gardens, perchance?
Fantasy Olive Garden.
Fantasy.
Oh yeah, please. Thank
you know, it's actually quite curious. If you'll permit, you would be the new owners of Troll Skull Manor, would you not? Did you know I knew the owners previous to you, Leaf, and of course his lovely wife Erica. They had an olive. Well, I would call it a grove in their backyard. That was, of course, before the tragedy and that whole unfortunate business. But it's funny. It's just what a curious life is water, as I say, and everything flows back to its source. And it's so curious that you would bring up olives.
Yeah, real quick about that tragedy. Unfortunately, we moved in with very little knowledge on the aforementioned tragedy. Would you mind filling us in a little bit? It's helpful to know the history of where you're living.
Oh gosh, I don't know that I'm that person.
The motherfucker who is Leaf is dead. I don't say that. I don't say that out loud.
Truly,
We're all thinking it.
I've been doing so good in the conversation until right now.
No, like word for word, that is exactly what was in my head, and I'm so glad someone, like literally in my head, I'm like, the motherfucker who the fuck is. Like,
So Cerulean, seeing Mel and Gareth getting frustrated, looks at this elf and says, life is water. And I think that life can store memories, or that water can store memories. And I think that there's water in every piece of wood, whether it's been chopped or not, and that manor is made of so much wood. And I think it stored a piece of leaf. And we've connected with him. And I've shared in the familial loss with him. We know he lost his family. And we have sworn to him that we're going to protect his home. So it would be really great if I could know who I'm connecting with, or what trauma bond am I forming.
I'm crying.
Trauma!
The elf tears up
Nice.
and doesn't manage to form words. Let's cut through this really quick because I can see what you guys are angling at. Let's say the fantasy cilantro that you grabbed from Corellian's crown fills the rest of the debt needed to restore Troll Skull, just to like make things easy.
I have a shit ton of cilantro. Wait, why don't we just make it into like a bar/library, but like ditch the inn aspect?
I didn't want the house. Also, the thought of like, now I'm in this house, and now on the one hand, passive income is a plus, but passive, because this sounds like a lot of goddamn work. It doesn't sound.
Oh,
all
that's
that
what we have the
passive.
money
It
for.
Sounds like a lot of goddamn
Oh, you mean
work.
running it?
Right, running it. And then there's got to be people all up in my living space, and like, look.
That's
We
why
can
I-
make it a locked door.
Let's
We can make
just
it a
do
locked
an
door.
occasional haunted house tour and just lean into the dilapidated.
I think
Dead
that
and
we-
breakfast.
Need a place to live.
I think we keep the middle.
Hang
we
on.
can still live
Hang-
there.
We are
Scare
not gonna,
B&B. Scare B&B.
we are not going to move past dead and breakfast so quickly.
Wait, I missed that.
Anthony said the words dead and breakfast, and I'm fucking
Holy
obsessed
shit.
with it.
I'm thinking,
breakfast.
what if we like had the middle level be like a bar/library scenario, and then we can keep the top layers and also my cellar for our own rooms that we already picked out. So that way we can keep like the customers at an arm's reach.
Part of the cellar would probably have to be converted to actual storage, though, would it not? Because it's huge, right? The cellar part's
It's
pretty big.
sizable. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I mean-
definitely not a room. It's a cellar, but it's big enough that Gareth, you feel like you could have like a private space down there.
Tight.
Okay. So so bar library in the middle room, or just a bar? Just a straight up bar?
I say fireplace, wall-to-wall bookshelves, like super cool bar, low light.
Okay. All right.
But is there a stage involved somewhere?
There is a corner stage with a magical dancing light spotlight. That when it's time for your performance, I throw my dancing lights up there and it magnifies it and gives you a
Nice.
spotlight.
Yes.
I'm
Can I
have my
picturing-
skylight
I'm picturing the
ceiling?
like library from Beauty and the Beast, but like with booze.
That is every library I've ever pictured in my imagination
Oh,
has
yeah.
been the library from Beauty and the Beast. They crushed it in one. Hello. Hi. Interrupting again. It's me, Alexander James, your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, and also suspenders broker. I've got several of them. You buy low, you sell high. That's how you make money in this business. Thank you so much for joining us on Critically Stupid. I'm so glad you're here. Give me just like 2 minutes of your time. I'll get you right back to the episode. We are, as always, playing, say it with me, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, an official Wizards of the Coast module written by Chris Perkins, Michelle Carter, Scott Fitzgerald Gray, and Kim Mohan. If you've enjoyed what you've heard here, or you're looking to get into D&D on your own, I highly recommend you go to dnd.wizards.com. Check out all the great stuff they've got there. They've got anything you need to jumpstart your own campaign or character and jump into somebody else's campaign. They've got editable character PDF sheets. They've got dice sets. They've got a guy named Gronk who will show up and escort you to work with a mace in one hand. It's fucking crazy. It should be illegal. Somehow it's not. You know, our great American forefathers didn't really think about fantasy security guards. Their loss, I guess. If you'd like to end up as a character on Critically Stupid, you can tag us at Crit Stupid. Tell us what you thought of the most recent episode, or talk to me directly and say, hey, Alex, I want to be that orc escorting somebody to and from work with a mace in one hand. And I'd be like, wow, man, that sounds pretty bloodthirsty of you. And you'd be like, yeah, that's how I roll. And then I'll get a little frightened of you. But you can end up as an NPC like Dina, Daniel, and Sean, who I transplanted straight from the Don't Make It Weird podcast. If you haven't checked them out yet, you should. They have their own store in our little fantasy world, and it's great. And I love having them there. And I get to make them say and do things like little sock puppets that talk to each other without their consent, which is just my favorite thing ever. Oof, the optics on that phrase. Don't take that out of context. They're great humans in real life, and anything they do or say in this show is my fault. Blame me, not them. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let you get back to the show. As soon as I say this, please subscribe to our YouTube and rate us on Spotify, because we rely on you to spread this show. So, yeah, if you like it, please tell a friend. And that's it. I've done enough rambling. I'm so sorry to have wasted your time in such a fashion. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let you get back to the show. I love you. Bye. You know who else loves you? Me. Also Alex. Hi. Just wanted to mention really, really quick, we're doing a new thing for Season 2 going into Season 3, where we're going to be using featured graphics, all of the creators on the show, dropping little pictures, listening to, or like new episode. If you use those images and you share them at us, or you tweet at us with them, your name will go into a pot to be used as a featured listener for an upcoming episode. I'm not quite sure when that's going to be, but I'll put your handle on the screen and shout you out for listening, as well as if you're obviously working on like a project or you've got something going on, I'll try to shout that out as well, to the best of my ability, obviously. So yeah, keep an eye out for those graphics. And just as a warning, per usual, like if your username or your handle's got some profanity in it, I probably won't use it, just because like that's not kind of our vibe. I don't know if you've noticed, but we never swear ever. We're very PC, and you should let your kids listen to this show. That's a joke. Please God, don't let your children listen to this show. Anyway, I just wanted to mention really quick, I do still love you, and that Alex is also okay, even if he's wearing a different vest and tie than I am. I don't like that, but anyway, love you again. All right, bye. Let's say that it is some weeks later. The work on Troll Skull started slow, but as many contracts do, swiftly turned into a raucous collection of hammers smashing and wagons pulling into the yard with lumber and roof tiles and new panes of glass for the broken windows. In a corner of the room, between dwarf carpenters putting up tall bookshelves, Arnold, you are interviewing prospective acts who wish to perform at Troll Skull, who are auditioning for your opening week. Who is on stage and how is it going?
I mean, okay. So I get to choose the NPCs. This is cool. Okay. Yeah. So I get to just name someone. All right. So I'm talking to Ronald. Okay. And my question for him, he's been on stage for what seems to everyone else to be 3 hours. Because I'm running him through the ringer, just trying to make sure that he fits right with the acoustics of the room and also me. So right at this point, we're at the point where I'm like, but what is your favorite sound that animals don't make? And I'm just I'm talking to Ronald, and I'm just like running him through. I'm like, oh, okay, no, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. I think you might work. And I'm just kind of like.
So Ronald is a burly half-orc with a fiery ginger beard that is bedazzled with bits of seashells. And for a person of his stature, clearly 6.5, 7 feet tall, he is nervously playing with a tiny pair of bongo drums.
Nice.
And is just, I just really want to be a good fit, and I really want to make sure that I do a good job. And I know that you haven't played the Macarena 5 times, but I will play it for you for a 6th time.
Fantasy Macarena.
I'm so sorry, Fantasy Macarena. If you want me to play it a 6th time, I'm more than happy to. I really want that opening night spot so I can play for my dad.
I love Ronald.
Oh, I love him so much.
Yeah, I would die for him.
So I kind of I do the thing, I do like a Godfather move where I grab his cheeks.
He is surprised.
Yeah. So I grab his cheeks and I'm like, you are my number one, Ronald. You've always been my number one. You will be there with me on opening night.
Ronald runs out of the room, hammering on his bongos in excitement. And you hear a voice pipe up from behind where another crew of dwarves are hammering a bar against the wall. And a familiar redhead sorting glassware says, "Whoa, bro, like I really liked him too, man. Like I liked his sound." And Floon is organizing glasses as they're going on to the series of cubbies, except he's doing a really poor job because the dwarves are trying to put up the cubbies, but Floon is like organizing the glassware on top of it and getting in everybody's way.
Nice.
Does anybody else feel like Floon knows where to get fantasy weed?
Floon definitely is a fantasy drug dealer.
Okay.
And he says, I don't know, man. Like I really dug that harpsichord player though. Like they had like a chaos about them that like I thought was really vibrant and exciting.
Oh yeah, Floon. I as you know, we're letting everyone in the band. We're not letting them know. This is a full-on. This is going to be our masterpiece. You know this.
Wait, bro, do I get to be in the band?
That's why you have the glasses, Floon. You're not supposed to be stacking them. You're supposed to be playing them. This is beautiful. What are you doing?
This is Arnold's magnum opus.
This is, yeah.
He takes, oh no. Okay. He takes 2 of them and you can see he's gonna like, ching. Except he just slams one into the other and just like shatters glass all over his knuckles and he starts bleeding oh man, I done beefed it.
So Flint. You're thinking percussive. I'm not thinking percussive. I'm thinking you put some liquids in there. We have a ganassi here. You put some liquids in there. You make sounds with them. I know you're good at this. You're excellent at basically everything except for. I mean, you're really good at smashing glasses. Look at what you just did. Like I was like, you're a person of many talents.
Bro, I never even considered like the sound on the rim sound. I'm pretty sure that's the scientific name for it. I'm just so stoked to be in the band, man. Maybe finally, maybe my dad will be stoked on something that I'm doing.
Floon seems awful calm for all those glass shards in his hand. Probably has something to do with all that fantasy weed.
Fantasy weed. He's got the good strain.
Cerulean.
Yep.
Same day, while Arnold is interviewing talent downstairs, you've been annoyed all morning by wailing harps and horrible lute strings, and somebody brought in their own fucking fantasy harpsichord. Somebody brought in their own harpsichord and jangled on that thing for a full hour and a half. So you've got a headache building at the back of your head, slowly reaching forward like a vice, gripping tighter and tighter. You are overseeing the replacement of the roof and turret tiles of Troll Skull, but you are working with a crew of nimble young humans leaping acrobatically to and fro on the rooftop. However, the foreman of this crew is an old human man with like roomy blue eyes and like a dusty collection of like scrappy facial hair, wearing a red hat backwards. And he is in the process, he's carrying a sledgehammer in one hand, and he is hammering roof tiles out of this roof, sort of one by one, popping them to and fro. You walk into the attic to see a piece of floorboard snap underneath his foot and half collapse him into the floor below. And he starts like snarling swear words and slamming the butt of his sledgehammer against the floor, saying like, this is the fourth time it's fucking happened to me.
Ooh. Do I feel any other presence or anything?
Yeah. Leaf, I believe I did tell you his name a while back, clearly has a problem with this guy and what he's doing in the attic.
Okay, so Cerulean puts on her boss girl face and she walks over to this guy and she goes, I'm sorry, do you have a problem?
Yes, this is the fucking, and he hauls himself out of the hole in the floor. I'm trying to do a job, right? You hired me to replace your roof. I'm trying to replace your roof. And this fucking, I don't know what it is. I don't believe in ghosts, right? I believe in money, and I believe in a firm political hand that grips the city like an iron fist, right? And this fucking house just seems to be like wiling out. Okay, I just want to replace the roof tiles and get on with my fucking life. I don't care about doing them sensitive or doing them baby-like, right? Me and my boys, replacing roof tiles. That's what we're doing today.
Does the house seemingly have any other issues with the other workers, or is it just this guy?
The other workers are going about their business a little bit more respectfully. It feels like they're, chattering to each other and replacing roof tiles, but they're not slamming or kicking tiles. They're on the outside of the house. This guy's on the inside of the house, popping tiles through to the outside.
So Cerulean looks at this guy and she goes, look, I'm going to be real forward with you. You can get a grip or you can get lost. And
you've already offered us the contract. All right, the deal's signed. And he like reaches into his shirt like he's going to pull it out and like brandish it in front of you.
Does he have sweat on him? Like, is he covered in sweat?
He's a little sweaty. Yeah, he's a little damp.
Cerulean does shape water and pulls all the sweat off of him. How big of a bubble of water do I get?
What a metal fucking question that is. I'm going to say you get somewhere between a golf ball and a sizable tangerine.
So if I spread it pretty thin, could I cover his nose and his mouth?
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flashback to
The
episode
water
1 when we
is
said we can't be
life
murder hobos.
and death.
What? So Cerulean looks this guy in the face, pulls the sweat from his body,
Ew.
spreads it out like she is making direct eye contact with this guy while she's doing it, not saying a word, one eyebrow raised. Katie can't do that, but Cerulean can, and covers his nose and his mouth with his own sweat.
Gross.
And says, I suggest you learn to be more gentle, because as my lovely friend across the street, and I'm trying to drag it out a little bit so he looks like he's like panicking.
Oh yeah, no, he is like trying to back away from it, but you continue pushing it like until he's pushed against the ceiling tiles that he was popping out, sort of like pressed against them, his head framed with like bleak skylight. And he's like not quite turning purple, but he is struggling to breathe.
And I look at him, and as my lovely friend across the way says, water is life. So if you value yours, you're going to be a little more gentle with my house. And then she pulls the sweat back so he can breathe and just splashes it in his face.
He sputters and turns red and apologizes and puts the sledgehammer down, and there's a toolkit on the ground away from him, and he pulls out a small, like a feather hammer, and uses it to gently poke out the rotting shingles so that his crew on the outside can replace them. And he does it while looking over his shoulder every single time to make sure that you approve of the way that he's doing it.
Nice.
And I just smile like nothing happened, just Southern sweet.
Okay. Mel, as the ranger, you are sitting on the back steps of Troll Skull Manor nursing a hangover. It is the earlier hours of the day, and you are watching a set of, I'm going to generously describe them as nincompoops, overturn the backyard of Troll Skull to turn it into a sort of like overgrown or manicured patio. As the ranger, you're watching them do a lot of the green work and shrubbery. But they're doing a pretty piss poor job of it. What are they doing wrong?
Like their fantasy plant. Are they destroying fantasy plants that I would rather not be destroyed?
If you
Wait,
say
don't
they
we have
are,
like an olive thing back there?
We do have
yes,
all
there
of
is the skeletal remains of what is it is still alive.
Okay, well maybe they could not touch my fucking olive tree.
So you see a gangly halfling, like a teenager working on a crew, approach the olive tree and start hammering at it with
Swear
an
to God, I
axe.
will set you on fire.
Whoa, okay. Chill out. I'm just getting rid of this dead ass tree, and then we're gonna
Never
put some
tell
better.
a woman to chill out, okay?
You're being a little hysterical, okay? My dad says that you gotta just calm down, right?
Wow.
And then he hits his vape pen.
Right? His fucking jewel.
magical, his fantasy jewel.
His fantasy jewel. Well, can he
He,
get fantasy lung cancer on top of
yeah.
that? That would bring me a lot of fantasy joy.
We're doing a lot of really nice things for not murder hobos.
He wipes his brow, and there's like a speckling of like prepubescent like acne across his face. Like this kid's like 15 and just shooting his mouth off, but he's holding a hatchet in one hand. And he's like, excuse me, I'm just trying to cut this tree down, like my dad said, so that we can put in your tea bushes.
Leave the tree alone.
That's great audio. I made a face. Sorry, Spotify listeners, I love you. Okay.
I mean, 95% of my thing is making faces. So.
He throws his hatchet into the ground in frustration, and you both hear an audible thunk as it sinks into the ground. And he goes, "Whoa, what was that?" And he bends down, and he pulls it out, and he unearths, really, really shallowly buried in the roots of this olive tree, a small chest about 1.5 feet long. And you see him fiddle with the hasp, and then he stops and he says, "Oh, I bet you probably want this."
Yeah, I do want that. I do.
I'm gonna go.
Yep.
He says, "I'm gonna go. My dad's in the truck with the tea. I'm gonna go. Yeah." And he embarrassed and red faced walks away.
So I got a little treasure box.
Yes. So you open the hasp, it is unlocked and really rusty. As you open it, it squeaks, fit to make the headache growing in your head even worse. Inside is a cloth wrapped bundle, and you open it to reveal a small book, probably 8 inches by 4 inches, bound by a simple cloth tie. And you open it to see on the cover page, "Here being the personal deeds and diabolical witnesses of the dread pirate known as Alexander," but it's Aleksander. I did not put myself in my own game. Get off my ass. That wasn't to you guys. That was to anybody who's going to fucking comment on it in the YouTube section.
And did you for real put yourself in your own campaign, you pretentious, narcissistic piece of milquetoast human garbage?
Wow.
NPC is named Alex from now on, please.
Bestie, you open this up, and it is a half story notebook in a sort of like small childlike hand, and half diary, dated probably about 4 years ago is the earliest entry. And this is the diary of the child, one of the children, I should say, of the family who used to own this house.
He was a pirate? That's fucking cool.
Well, it's half a story notebook, so he's writing
play acting. He
was writing a story about a pirate, pirate Alexander.
Damn, now it's sad. It was almost. I was like,
it was always.
Cool as fuck.
It was always a little. It was always a little sad.
And the pirate Alexander was on a great quest on a pirate ship called the HMS Erica. And one day the HMS Erica got caught in a storm, and a hole appeared in her side, and she started taking on water and not sailing as well. So she started to sail towards land, but there wasn't any land in sight, and she started to sink.
I low-key feel like this story is a metaphor for my life.
Anyway,
It's a metaphor for
Taking on water.
something else too.
And
Life is
water
water, guys.
life for some of you, but death for some of us.
Life is water unless you're cerulean waterboarding a contractor who's stepped over his boundaries. Garath.
Is that as far as I get in the book?
Well, I mean, how far do you want to flip through it, Bestie? I didn't want to take up too much of your time if you just wanted to get in and out.
No, I mean, I'm finished. I'm invested now on the HMS Erica.
So the HMS Erica started taking on water, and she started to sink. And she sailed towards land, but there wasn't any land. And the pirate Alexander started to get worried because the ship wasn't doing so hot. And beneath that, there's another journal entry out of the stylized storytelling and more in like a hasty, childlike hand, that says, "The doctor came again today and said Mom wasn't doing so well. But Dad said she was doing just fine. I had to leave for school, but I choose to believe Dad because he seemed happy when he was telling me. And the doctor seemed really sad."
Murder his wife. Come on.
That or he's just a dirty, dirty liar.
Yeah, or he's lying to his child.
The next entry is about the pirate Alexander, and the pirate Alexander saw land, a pair of mountains floating in the distance, and he felt hope stirring in his cold, dead-hearted chest as he sailed the ship towards land for the first time in what felt like months. And then there are a couple of pages sort of blank with some like scribbled drawings, a couple of like hasty sketches. And you feel like you're getting towards like the halfway point of this diary, and you pass a couple of empty pages. And then there's one more journal entry, dated 2 years ago, almost to the day that you bought the house, that says, "I haven't felt like writing stories for a while. I've started feeling sick too a little bit. Dad says I'm going to be just fine too."
Oh, well, good. He's all fine then.
Bessie, we're going to cut away from you. That's all you get from the diary.
Fine.
Garath, it is the wee hours of the morning. You find yourself actually up late instead of up early. You've been up kicking it, making that you now have a portion of the cellar that a team has turned into like a room with a
Nice.
little wall and a door and
Oh yeah.
this and that. You are kicking it in your room when you hear a sound come from the cellar outside. And at first you suspect it to be the specter that lives in the house, maybe playing at cups. So you poke your head outside, but all of the cups that you've set in a very regimented pattern to test if there was in fact a ghost there at that moment are still and not moving.
It's like that thing. You see the thing with like where dogs have those button boards to like talk.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got one that says like hungry, and then you've got one that says like tired, except it's a ghost. So neither of those fucking buttons have been pressed. Also, they're just pictures because you can't read or write.
They're photographs printed.
You hear a sound coming actually from the small room that's been converted into a wine cellar, but you remember it fondly as the room that you guys all used to go into the sewers for the first time to find the coin that the specter of this house pointed you to. And you open the door, and you'll remember at the end of this sort of barrel vaulted room, there's a cellar door that opens down into the ladder. And you open this door and you pause for just a second, and you hear a voice echo up from the darkness below that says, "Why'd you do it?"
Fuck. I don't say that out loud. Garion says that. Garath doesn't. Kind of like defeated, Gareth like sits on the ladder, so like he's sitting there with like his legs in the ladder hole. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't kill anyone really. My friends, the only people who tolerate really drumming up the sympathy on this one. The only people who have tolerated me for a while just got zapped out of nowhere. Who knows what they had gone for? I know they just got evaporated. It showed up at our doorstep at 30 in the morning. Yeah, I got a little mad. And luckily you came by, snapped me back to my senses before I did anything stupid. But hey, that's what friends are for, yeah.
But you lied to me.
Well, I didn't lie to you at all, Tim. Sylvie came to our house, before it was actually a house. She invited us to do some jobs. We came to, what we assumed was your headquarters. And, we were stuck in that room and you saw what happened next.
But before that, you came through my hallway and I was patrolling it like Dad said to patrol it, and you said that you were on the team and that's why I let you pass, and then you met Sylvie. So like you didn't even, that was before you lied to me even then, like the first time.
No, Tim, were we not on the team? Like, Sylvie came to our house. She told us we were on the team as far as I knew. We were on the same page right up until the room started vibrating and my friends disappeared. That's, as far as I was concerned, we had been betrayed, double stabbed, backhanded. None of those are actual terms.
Stabbed in the back?
When you came in walking into the room, I thought you were going to be the next knife in my spine.
Oh, I'd never betray my friends.
I think the best thing that we could do here is you stick with the Vanessa. God, fuck. You stick with the word that I can't say very well in my character accent, and I'll stay here at Trollskull. And feel free to come down for a drink sometime.
So
I feel like you guys just broke up.
Are
We
we not
did.
friends? Are we not friends anymore?
Of course we're friends, Tim. And because we're friends, and because friends don't betray each other, it's best we don't, provide each other with opportunities to do so.
Okay. That's it. The hallway falls silent.
Damn. Heavy.
Let's move forward into brighter days and happier times. It is opening day of Troll Skull Manor. What kind of, if any, opening day ceremony or ribbon cutting or soft opening are you guys doing?
Cerulean would have suggested like a soft opening to get the marketing down, and
Nice.
then would gone for like a ribbon cutting ceremony with like a full opening. So like the soft opening would have been the neighbors and stuff.
Okay.
So first of all, does anybody have any objections to me being the bartender?
No.
Yeah, bro, I've got an objection. You guys hired me as your bartender.
Cool.
It's me,
Anyway.
Floon. I got bandages on my knuckles now.
Floon, how many times have I told you you're a bar back, not a bartender?
But
Floon,
Arnold said I was
Floon.
a bar forward.
Floon, you have terrible people skills.
Bro, that's just not true. I'm charismatic as all get out.
Honey, people
Floon,
would steal from you.
I just like to think of it as generous. Arnold taught me that.
Arnold has terrible people skills.
That's why Arnold is not in charge of the finances.
Okay,
So-
but low key though, like if Floon wants to run that fantasy weed business out of here and just like give us a cut. I'm
Yeah,
down
we were
for
around the
that.
fantasy dispensary at the back.
Yeah, Mel,
Yeah.
you actually saw Floon and the owner of the botanicals garden down the street having quiet conversations over a small, suspicious looking sapling growing in your backyard.
That's what I'm talking about. As long as we get a cut from that, I'm
As,
good.
as the bartender, can Gareth like do the thing where like I like frame the first gold piece we make?
Your first customer, your
Oh, fuck
first
yeah.
official paying person who walks through Troll Skull's front door is a fully armed and armored Captain Rain, who walks in her city guard captain uniform, and cheerfully plunks down a gold dragon on the bar and says, a pint of your finest ale, if you please. I'm so happy to see your business up and running as fully functional. It's great.
Gareth is like wiping down the counter, which is perfectly spotlessly clean because no one has ever sat down at it yet.
Do you also clean a mug that's fresh out of the
Yeah,
box?
yeah, exactly. Oh, Captain Rain, welcome to Trollskull Manor. Finest ale coming out. I assume I'd fill it with something. I don't know.
Yeah, you've got taps that they've installed lines in the cellar, and they all work great. You pour a glass of amber for the captain. You set it in front of her. She takes an appreciative sip and says, that is most excellent. Say, Garath, you wouldn't happen to know anything about a explosion in the dock ward just the other day, would you? Of a ship?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the botanical garden sounded. Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking for fantasy weed. Explosion. You know what? I'm going to be honest. A real crazy week. He puts down the mug and picks up another equally spotless mug.
Floon takes the clean, empty one and starts putting it in the fantasy dishwasher.
Thank you, Floon. Let's see. The Sea Wars. When was this exactly, precisely?
It was about 2 weeks ago. There
Yeah.
was one of the captains of the Seaborn Festival came to me with a complaint that somebody had exploded his ship, and you might forgive the assumption, but I thought perhaps you might know something about this.
You know what? That's a reasonable assumption. We do kind of run around allegedly killing people and allegedly blowing people up.
Yes, strictly allegedly, of course,
Of course.
in the purest of hypotheticals.
Yeah.
As you guys are having this conversation, so sorry, Gareth. As you're having this conversation, you're seeing real guests and people like stream into Troll Skull. Like you've had whatever marketing you guys have done is working. Floon is soon pulling drinks. Ronald is on stage, bongoing his brains out, playing the Macarena, and it is a choice fantasy Macarena. He's doing a very good job.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, well, it's supposed to be a soft opening, but Arnold's like, "This is it, everyone. This is our big day. This is the biggest opening. And this is the grand opening of this place." And like, I'm using my minor illusion to cause like more of a robber, like for the whole
Waterfall.
as if there's like this huge crowd, like as people,
Nice.
like
Except there's like
obviously-
10 people in here.
Yeah, it sounds like an uproarious crowd.
You see Dina and Daniel come in, followed by the dapper lumbering form of Sean the gorilla. You see the owner of Corellian's Crown come in. They are carrying a very fastidious bonsai cilantro that is clearly like a housewarming gift of some kind.
Nice.
A couple of other neighbors who you will come to meet in the future times. But yeah, the neighborhood is out for the opening of Troll Skull Manor.
When Sean comes in, Gareth gets like visibly excited and like low-key kind of ignores Rain. And just like, Sean! The gorilla's here!
If you please, I do prefer being called an ape. But I would have a glass of your finest brandy.
Absolutely, I'm so sorry. Please feel free, take a chair or several, make yourself comfortable.
As the evening goes on, the soft opening of Troll Skull almost turns into a neighborhood event as more faces come in, people excited to see Troll Skull up and running and back in its prime. People are laughing and chattering, and Ronald is bongoing on the stage and it sounds amazing. People are taking books off the shelves and recommending books to each other and like, oh, have you read this one? I haven't, but have you tried that one? And it's going swimmingly. And
There's a little
then-
section of the library that's actually graphic novels, and there's one on display, and it's Fantasy Play It Again.
I mean, Fantasy Play It Again has a small crowd in front of it as people are obsessed with getting one of a very limited signed copies by Anthony LaFauci, of course, the incredibly talented writer, and Stevie Wildcard, the incredible illustrator of Play It Again. If you haven't checked it out, you fucking should. Everything is going incredibly. And then from outside, you hear several alarmed cries, and the night ignites in a fireball as something outside explodes on the street.
Garath like looks at Ran. Well, we all have pretty good alibis. We were all at work.
Nice.